So, Professor Robert Thomas,
Okay.
thank you for coming and spending a few minutes talking to us after your talk here today. Let's start with the 1939 Cancer Act. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, it seems to say that if you suggest, infer, imply or insinuate that you may be offering advice in connection with or for the treatment of cancer, then you're a criminal. How does that Act sit with what we're witnessing and hearing today?
Well, as far as I know, the Act was introduced to sort of make sure that any advice given to patients who can be vulnerable is evidence-based. Of course, as an oncologist, a lot of what we advise patients isn't evidence-based, but that seems to be overlooked. But nevertheless, for new products, it's to try and protect people. So I think its heart is in the right place, but it does make it difficult when, for example, you do a randomized, double-blind control study with the same quality of assurance as a pharmaceutical trial, and you are then not allowed to give that advice to people because the product itself doesn't, meet some licensing criteria. And it seems to be stifling intervention in that category, in this sort of grey area between a drug and a food. So I think that the Cancer Act is old-fashioned. It needs to be changed. I think the MHRA needs to, wake up and have, look at maybe a subcategory. You could say, things like POMI-T or other supplements which have got some reasonable proof. I personally believe we should have a subcategory and say, well, this is not quite the proof as say, a pharmaceutically derived drug, but it's nearly there, and have it with a degree of caution rather than say no, and if you advise this, you're a criminal, which seems a bit extreme to me.
POMI-T. Tell us a little bit more about this. POMI-T. It contains turmeric, indole 3-carbinol. Is that the properly derivative?
I'm very keen on developing food strategies which are as far as possible as close to the original food as so the whole food. So it's got 4 extracts: whole pomegranate, whole broccoli, turmeric, and green tea. It's not extracting chemicals from it. A lot of data out there suggests when you start concentrating or even artificially making the chemicals to mimic the natural chemical, you're losing the benefit, and that's been proven in large studies such as the SELECT study and the CARA study. So it's just whole products, and the idea is each of the ingredients have shown in laboratory data to have an anti-cancer effect. We're not actually connected with the manufacturing now, but I'm in contact with the organisation who is, and it's very frustrating that you have this data out there, which was. We presented it in front of 28,000 oncologists in the world's best cancer conference in Chicago, and it was alongside monoclonal antibodies and anti-angiogenesis drugs as the top 10 studies for that year. And even with that degree of evidence, if you say on the packet, this could help cancer, then you're breaking the law. So they can sell it as a supplement, like many other supplements, but if you have any inference on benefit, it's illegal. So yes, it would be nice to be able to do an extensive research range on all these products, but we picked the ones which we felt had the best evidence at that point, which was about 3 years ago when the trial started. But I'm sure every day there's things coming through. Even chili and peppers and things probably have an anti-cancer effect. I think the future is to look at your genetic profile, the profile of the cancer, and probably select some foods for some cancers and other foods for other cancers. So it's not as simple as one thing fits everybody. But I think what this proves, what we're encouraged by this, is that we are seeing hard facts that they help cancer.
But we have this fundamental brick wall, it seems, because the pharmaceutical industry will not fund research into something that it can't patent. And by definition, you cannot patent a natural product. You can't patent vitamin D or vitamin C, thank God. So therefore, the pharmaceutical products by definition are synthesized chemicals that are new to nature, that have never been seen before in the history of the universe, basically. So there have to be something different in order to be patented, in order to be researched, in order to get the profit out of them and to return the research investment and all the rest of it. But it does then therefore mean that the very, very vast majority of our drugs that are licensed as medicines are new to nature, synthesized chemicals that have never been seen in the history of the universe before. There's no proper evidence base that anything natural has any effect whatsoever that you're allowed to say, basically.
Well, there are evidence. There is the evidence. Our trial was evidence.
Yes.
There's no, this trial was scrutinised with the top statisticians, and it was audited on a weekly basis. So there is no doubt the evidence there.
But that's not good enough.
But it's the whole legislation industry is blocked. But you're not actually even allowed. I mean, look at the evidence for broccoli, for example. We all know it's healthy. The EPIC study showed it's healthy. You cannot, if you make broccoli, if you grow broccoli, even organically, you cannot say on the packet that broccoli is good for your health. Even as simple things as, this is now getting ridiculous. I mean, of course, we want to protect patients, but we also want to go forward and look at different foods. So, something needs to be changed.
Thank you. Earlier they talked about deficiency syndromes and toxicity being commonly now understood by people like us as causes for cancer. Would you agree with that?
In terms of minerals and vitamins, I think the manufacturer, the supplementers have let themselves down a little bit because they're sort of over-promoting vitamin E and things like that with very little evidence. And when the evidence was gathered, it showed actually if you have a normal amount of vitamin E, for example, and you take excess, it's probably doing you harm. But there is quite clear evidence that if you are deficient and you correct that deficiency, you will do yourself a lot of good. And there are data to support that as well. People on ships in the 2 centuries ago, you got scurvy if you didn't have vitamin C. So we know you need these chemicals.
Yeah.
And probably in terms of cancer, we know that people who are selenium deficient have a higher risk. But the problem is knowing who's selenium deficient and who's vitamin D deficient. And then you could either gather that from very detailed questionnaires or measure it. But then it's getting a bit expensive.
But things like iodine, the World Health Organization iodine deficiency report categorically states that 95% of people in the Western world are iodine deficient. We know that. It's pretty much the same for vitamin D. If you live north of Paris, you should supplement.
Yeah.
And yet these two very fundamental immune system precursors are not being supplemented as policy.
Well, we did have iodine in the bread, and it's been withdrawn. So many people took offence to things being put into the food chain. So you can sort of see the argument for that. But the reason why I was put in the bread was because there was a lot of goiters and iodine deficiency. So we seem to have dug ourselves a bit of a hole there. We know I know from the test I do on my website that most people are vitamin D deficient, profoundly so.